Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. We are in a Bible study. Yep, we are in the NIV still. And again, we'll be through 2025. And then in 2026, we will do the KJV. So we will switch versions. And once we've done enough versions, we'll start comparing wording to each other. I've already got things for that in the works. Just we're going to start small. And we're going to work bigger on that, right? So, much to our benefit. We are in the book of Mark in the NIV, and we are in chapter 7. We're going to do all of it. It's verses 1 through 37. There's not a real good place here to divide where it makes a lot of sense. So, we're just going to do it all in one video. Clean and unclean, chapter 7. Verse 1. The Pharisees and some of the teachers of the law who had come from Jerusalem gathered around Jesus and saw some of his disciples eating food with hands that were unclean, that is, unwashed. The Pharisees and all the Jews do not eat unless they give their hands a ceremonial washing, holding to the tradition of the elders. When they come from the marketplace, they do not eat unless they wash. And they observe many other traditions, such as the washing of cups, pitchers, and kettles. Some early manuscripts, pitchers, kettles, and dining catches. I'm sorry. Are they suggesting that it is good to eat not wash your hands before you eat food? Well, as we have learned from COVID, we are supposed to indeed wash all of those things if we don't want to get sick with germs. So I realize that the Pharisees and the Sadducees are overdo it and stuff, but being sick sucks. So, they may be jerks, but it doesn't mean we should stop washing things. So Pharisees and teachers of the law asked Jesus, "Why don't your disciples live according to the traditions of the elders instead of eating their food with unclean hands?" He replied, "Isaiah was right when he prophesied about you hypocrites, as it is written, 'These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. They worship me in vain.'" That's true. "Their teachings are but rules taught by men." See Isaiah 29:13. I agree. That is exactly how the Pharisees and the Sadducees were treating the law. But I also think we should wash our hands so we don't get sick. Let go of the commands of God and are holding on to traditions of men. I agree with that too. They weren't doing it for the right intention in their heart. When you're following the law, you have to be doing it with the intention of, this is how you're showing God you love him. Okay? And he said to them, "You have a fine way of setting aside the commands of God in order to observe," some manuscripts say set up, "your own traditions." That is also true. 100%. Everything he's saying here about the Pharisees, Jesus speaking the truth. For Moses said, "Honor your father and your mother." Where is that? It's supposed to be a B. No, I'm sorry. That's supposed to be a B. Exodus 20:12 and Deuteronomy 5:16. "And anyone who curses his father or mother must be put to death." Exodus 21:17, Leviticus 29. We're not really supposed to curse people. Makes God cranky. It's the wrong energy to be in. Trust me. I have explored this option plenty with this mouth that I have been gifted with, and every single time it usually results in something that I was trying to do going awry. So we're not supposed to be popping off of the mouth and cursing anybody ever. It's a safer bet. But you say that if a man says to his mother or father, whatever help you might otherwise have received from me is Corban, that is a gift devoted to God. That's an interesting term. Then you no longer let him do anything for his father and mother. Well, thus you nullify the word of God by your traditions that you have handed down, and you do many things like that. Okay, so they're making people choose between their ability to help their family or tithe to the church. Yep. Jesus is on point. Again, Jesus called the crowd to him and said, listen to me, everyone, and understand this. Nothing outside a man can make him unclean by going into him. No, but it can make him sick. Germs make you sick. Rather, it is what comes out of a man that makes him unclean. D. Some early manuscripts have unclean. Okay. Right, is that right? Yeah. All right. Well, that's true. You can tell the intention of a person by the words they're using. If they use a lot of negative words, or they're really angry or aggressive or forceful, and yet, then the intention in their heart is those things. You can tell by how they speak. After he had left the crowd and entered his house, his disciples asked about this parable. Are you so dull? Whew, he asked. Don't you see that nothing that enters a man from the outside can make him unclean? For it doesn't go into his heart, but into his stomach, and then out of his body. In this saying, Jesus declares all foods clean. Yeah, the early foods that they weren't supposed to eat really had more to do with the fact that they were sacrificed to demons than necessarily a particular type of meat, or their ability to cook it properly, so they just didn't die of the germs and the contagions and the stuff inside it. You know, we still can't eat undercooked chicken or pork without getting sick, because our body just cannot handle those germs. We're not meant to eat certain things raw. Right? I mean, so he's saying it's not that. Just, for me, just make sure you cook your food, and then you're allowed to eat it, whatever it is. We went on. What comes out of a is what makes him unclean. For from within, out of men's hearts comes evil thoughts, sexual immorality, thoughts, murder, adultery, greed, malice, deceit, lewdness, envy, slander, arrogance, and folly. All of the evils come from inside and make a man unclean. That is true. Because you want those things in your heart. And I'm not calling out one gender or another. Jesus uses the word man. People in general. Because regardless of what gender anyone identifies themselves as, they are all capable of this. There is no demographic of human that is not capable of any one of those things. All of those are individual person choices. So every person is prone to them. You have to make a choice in each moment that you're just not going to engage in those things. Even with the thoughts. When you've got, dark imaginings, as some of the artists out there in the world would like to call it, when you've got dark imaginings, you can't just tell yourself, don't think about that. This is one of the things I taught in the hypnotherapy class. You can't just tell your brain, don't think about that. Because minimally, it just sort of has to be like, don't think about the bookmark with the rhinoceros on it. In order to not think about it, you have to first think about the bookmark and then wipe it away in your brain. So you can't do that. You have to give yourself, I like to use the word, you're instead. What are you going to do instead? Because you have that pattern, you have that place, you have that thing because it's fulfilling some need. So now you need another pattern, another place, another thing that fills that need that's healthy. Right? Not that there's anything wrong thinking about bookmarks with rhinoceroses on them. It's just a thing. So, that's what he's saying. It comes from within us. So you have to look at why that feeling is even there in order to heal whatever that wound is. So you don't want that thing that way. Sometimes it's not what we want to get or have, or the relationship or the whatever it is. Sometimes it's the way we're going about getting it that is the problem. Frequently. Because we make our own problems. The faith of the Syrophoenician woman. Verse 24. Jesus left that place and went to the vicinity of Tyre. Let's see. Some early manuscripts, Tyre and Sidon. Yeah, well, they're right next to each other, so that doesn't really matter. They're like, one is closer to Jerusalem, and the other one's on the other side of that. I can't remember. I think it's Tyre that's on the other side of that. He entered a house and did not want anyone to know it. Yet he could not keep his presence secret. Yeah, well, he's a celebrity. In fact, as soon as she heard about him, a woman whose little daughter, who was possessed by an evil spirit, a Greek again for unclean, came and fell at his feet. The woman was Greek. She was born in Syrian Phoenicia. She begged Jesus to drive the demon out of her daughter. First, let the children eat all they want, he told her, for it is not right to take the children's bread and toss it to their dogs. Yes, Lord, she replied, but even the dogs under the table eat the children's crumbs. Then he told her, for such a reply, you may go. The demon has left your daughter. She went home and found her child laying on the bed, and the demon was gone. Yeah, so everybody, because at that time, Jesus was not trying to save Gentiles, but she showed faith. That, even if you don't consider me worthy, you can do whatever it is that you want to do. That's why you can give me the crumbs of this salvation and save my daughter. I know you can. It doesn't matter that I'm not Jewish. And that's why it worked. The healing of the deaf and mute man. Then, verse 31. Then Jesus left the vicinity of Tyre and went through Sidon, down to the Sea of Galilee, and into the region of Decapolis, that is the 10 cities. There some people brought to him a man who was deaf and could hardly talk, and they begged him to place his hand on the man. After he took him aside, away from the crowd, Jesus put 2 fingers on the man's ears. Then he spit and touched the man's tongue. Okay. He looked up to heaven, and with a deep sigh, he said to him, okay, I'm going to do this is absolutely another language. So it's E-P-H-P-H-A-T-H-A. Epathia? I don't know. Epathia. Like there's going to be 2 P sounds there. Which means be opened. At this, the man's ears were open and his tongue loosened, and he began to speak plainly. So just some Jesus saliva makes it all better. Jesus commanded them not to tell anyone. But the more he did so, the more they kept talking about it. People were overwhelmed with amazement. He has done everything well, they said. He makes the deaf hear and the mute speak. which is important because that's part of the gospel, my friends, part of the in fulfillment of the scriptures for the promised Messiah. And that's also part of why the genealogy, the Messiah was promised from a particular gene pool, and if he didn't come from it, then there would be a problem. He wouldn't really be qualified to be the Messiah. He would be a prophet. So, and that's why, again, next year we do the Old Testament so we can find out what those scriptures were that Jesus was fulfilling, because they're mixed in there from the prophets with what was going on in those prophets' current day. So you have to be able to separate the two. But don't worry, I will walk you through that to the best of my own ability. And I fully encourage all of you to, actually give commentary and feedback with your insights. Even if they disagree with mine, it doesn't matter. That's what good Bible study is about. So until a little bit from now, friends.